Hi guys, it's Amy here. I know I usually use this channel for things like Minecraft or singing, but I want to try something a little bit different today. I'm going to be doing an ASMR video. Now, if you don't know what that is, I'll leave a link in the description to a Wikipedia page that you can have a look at. But it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and it basically means, it basically describes the tingly feeling you get if you listen to soft sounds or tapping or pages turning in a book. Now for my video today, I was looking at my collection of books and I found a book on Fable, the game. I think it's for the PC and the Xbox, things like that. I have played the games, Fable, and I really do enjoy them. So I wanted to have a look at this book here. And I read over the prologue, and there's a lot of good sounds in there for ASMR. So I was going to read the prologue for you guys and see what you think of my ASMR voice. Now I am just doing soft spoken just now. Whispering is very hard. It's a lot of strain on the throat. So I'm going to be focusing mainly on soft spoken, lip smacking, talking quite slowly and quite simply, and I'm going to be tapping, of course, and turning the pages. And I hope you enjoy it. So, as I was saying, I am going to be reading a book about Fable called The Balverine Order. And it's written by Peter David. And I'm just going to read the prologue for you guys for just now. So I'm just fixing my microphone. So let's have a look at the prologue. Now, this is a few pages, and I don't think it'll be very long. It's 5 or 6 pages, I think. So, I will get started. I don't think this will be a very long video. This is just so you guys get a bit of an idea, and maybe give me some ideas for things that you want me to do. So let's get started. The prologue. People get the heroes that they deserve. It is a very ancient saying, spoken by someone who was, I have no doubt, far wiser and greater than I could ever hope to be. For I am not, and never have been, a hero. I have been a king, a warrior, a politician, but not a hero. I have always envied those who were. I hear that the king of far-off Albion is a hero. I have never had the honour of meeting him, although I would very much like to. In my younger days that seemed a possibility, but matters of state kept me here. I always figured there would be time enough in the future. Now the end of my future looms before me, and I am filled with naught but regrets. I find myself, day upon day, trapped in endless and oftentimes mindless meetings as various landed and titled individuals come before me and explain why they should have even more land and more titles. Or an endless stream of people with barely 2 coins to scratch together parade before me with problems or disputes and expecting me to come up with some manner of solving them. On occasion, I am able to. More often than not, they are trapped by the particulars of their circumstances, and I cannot change them because I cannot, with a wave of my scepter, reorder the entirety of society. Such engagements become a humbling exercise in the realization of how limited a king's power truly is. They are waiting for me, even now, in the throne room. More people seeking my help or advice, or who knows what else. Very likely, the Duke of Overland will step in and start adjudicating the less pressing cases in my stead. The Duke. When he first came to court, he seemed very much like the hero to me. Brave, noble, selfless. His emulation of the heroic ideal is why I made him one of my closest advisors. But since then, he has proven just as much the political animal as any other striving for power, if not more so. Pondering the vast gulf between what I thought the Duke was and what he is what has prompted me to dwell upon the nature of heroes in the first place. Then I remembered that the Duke is not at court, though he is reportedly on his way back from an excursion. Running late, so I'm told, so they will be waiting on me then. Let them wait. That is one of the few advantages of being a king. People wait on you, and dare not say a word if you decide not to tailor your schedule to their liking. Rather than sitting in the confines of my throne room, a room so vast that it would seem insane that anyone could possibly find it limited, I have taken refuge in the royal garden. It is a crisp day as I sit here, surrounded by thick green hedges and lush beds of flowers planted by previous occupiers of the throne, or more precisely, their queens. The air is getting colder these days, and I see it in the morning frost on the flowers. It will mark their annual march toward extinction, only to be reborn in the spring. Would that humans had the same capacity for endless rebirth. I hear a soft footfall behind me, and quickly I am on my feet. The bones may be brittle, the muscles may have lost their suppleness, but the reflexes continue to serve me well. And although my body may moan and protest, at least it continues to obey my command. I have a short sword in my belt that I carry routinely, and it hisses smoothly out of the scabbard. I whip it around to face the unknown intruder. It is a man with a bemused expression and empty hands. His face is narrow and hawk-like, and his gaze darts round, as if he's trying to determine what might be the source of my concern, only to be profoundly surprised upon realizing that it is he. He is dressed in travelling clothes and obviously has been employing them for that purpose, for they are caked with dirt. "Greetings, sire," he says. "Greetings," I say cautiously. "I thought you might be an assassin." "If I were, I would be a rather poor one, given that I am unarmed and you are supposed to be elsewhere. So if my plan of attack were to involve assaulting you barehanded someplace where you are not supposed to be, then I'd be advised to find another vocation." His words seem reasonable to me, and slowly I sheath my blade. "Who are you then, and what business have you here?" "I am no one of importance, a mere lover of horticulture. Whenever I am hereabouts, I make sure to take in the royal garden, which is intended to be for the exclusive enjoyment of the king." "And will you have me beheaded for enjoying the flowers?" "Kings have beheaded men for less," I shrug. "Enjoy them as you wish. In the grand scheme, it is of no consequence." I lower myself back onto the bench. "I did not mean to intrude on the royal contemplation," he assures me. "I contemplate nothing of consequence. I contemplate heroes." "How can you say that heroes are inconsequential?" he says, sounding surprised at the notion. "Because there are no more, save for the king of distant Albion, at least so I hear, and he is of my age. Once he has departed this sphere, heroes will be of no more consequence than any other extinct species. Extinct? Never. You know the world in which we live in as well as I say. Once heroes bestrode the land, they were beloved and revered. And now? Now, I struck, they are treated with contempt, with suspicion. Anyone who would pursue the noble calling are made to feel ignoble, and so become mere sellswords, or hedge wizards, or similarly waste whatever talents they might have. The vast majority here never even explore their potential, and thus their talents lie fallow while they lead mundane, unexceptional lives. A very sour view of the world, Your Majesty. Sour, but no less accurate. What is it? My voice trails off a moment before I recover it once more. What is it about humanity that there is such a need to tear down heroes? I cannot comprehend it. The pendulum swings and continues to swing and never stops. Heroes were once far more revered than they are now, yes, I concede that. And over time, people have grown suspicious because they are fools, I suppose. The truth is that people always want what they do not have while being dissatisfied with what they do have. They had heroes, and they became suspicious and distrustful, and drove the profession nigh to oblivion. But nearly it is not the same as completely. The time for heroes has passed, and whatever you may believe about pendulums, O nameless one, there is nothing to say that such a time will return. He looks at me with something akin to pity. You say that there are no more heroes, and I am telling you that you are wrong. That may be a shocking notion for a king to have to face, since kings are traditionally surrounded by people who seem obsessed with trying to convince them of their infallibility. And do you believe otherwise? Belief indicates a lack of facts. I despise belief. I embrace only knowledge. So you have knowledge of heroes, then? I keep my tone even and skeptical, not wanting to hint that there is the slightest bit of hope left within me. Yes, indeed. First hand. Seen, and he taps the side of his head. With these very eyes, surely as I am seeing you. Tell me of them. It is a lengthy tale, he warns me. A tale of such enormity and scope that some would dismiss it as a mere fable. I would hear it and dismiss it as nothing. I stretch and wince as I feel pain seizing my spine. If it is all the same to you, I shall lie down upon this bench. You are the king. You may listen however you wish. I lie down upon the bench, interlacing my fingers and resting them upon my chest. The position eases the spasms in my back, and I sigh gratefully. Speak then, and I shall attend. The tale begins in Balverine. You know of it? It is in Albion, I believe. Beyond that, I know nothing. Balverine. Then the man is already warming to his tale. In many ways, it's at the forefront of what Albion has become, and, by extension, what it has left behind. Once Albion had been a land where magic held sway. Eventually, technology supplanted most of it, like weeds overrunning a lush green forest. At the time my story starts, the advent of technology and the growth of the population had already caused Balverine to expand beyond an acceptable size for any city, much less a pit such as Balverine. If you expand a dung heap, you just end up with a far greater stench. Not that the entirety of Balverine was execrable. The immediate area surrounding Balverine Castle is quite nice, and one could actually spend a pleasant day wandering Balverine Market, with many respectable shops and the Cow and Corset Inn, where the meat was fresh and the wenches fresher. But then there was Balverine Industrial, haven of so-called progress, belching smoke and fouling the very air. Then there was the old quarter, a depressed slum filled with thieves and lowlifes. It is also the home of one of our protagonists, but we shall get to him anon. Instead, our story begins in the mind of a young man. How would you know what was in his mind? He had been about to move to the next sentence in his narrative, but his mouth remained open momentarily, before snapping shut with an audible click. He pauses a few seconds, and then, his mouth in a firm line, says, "With all due deference to your majesty, this story will progress far more smoothly if you do not question me perpetually as I tell the tale. Please, I pray you, accept that I am the omniscient narrator of this fable, and thus I am somewhat... what is the word? Omniscient? Exactly. I wave my hand magnanimously. Proceed." "Thank you, your majesty," he says with a slight bow that is, surprisingly, devoid of any sense of irony. So, the young man, his name was Thomas Kirk. He was a resident of a region called Millfields, near the lake. His father was a wealthy merchant dealing in textiles, and simply assumed that Thomas would devote his full efforts into going into the family business, since he was about to come of age. His mother, on the other hand, was of ill health, and seemingly had been for as long as Thomas could remember. As for Thomas himself, he was a large, bold, and bluff boy, with a disturbing tendency to say precisely what was on his mind, regardless of the consequences. But he was also haunted by his original sin. He pauses. You are doubtless wondering what that sin might be. "Dare I ask?" I say dryly. "You are a king. The king dares all." "What," I say, "is Thomas Kirkman's original sin?" "He had the unadulterated nerve to not die." And that is the end of the prologue to the Balverine chapter, the Balverine order, sorry. And this was a longer video than I expected. I apologize. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am sorry if there's any background noise, if there's anything, if you've heard, it's quite early in the morning, so the birds are all coming out, and there's people getting up for work, driving, so I am very sorry if there's any particularly loud background noise, and I shall see you guys in a little while. Bye.